Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we are making Gallo Pinto, which is mixed rice and beans. And this is the easy way to make it. We're going to cook the rice in the rice cooker and we're going to use organic black beans to make that. So we're not making the beans from scratch. In other countries, they call this arroz con habichuelas, or for instance, the Cubans call it congrí. It's a different style of cooking, different cooking techniques, but we're going to make it the way it is done in Nicaragua and Costa Rica, as far as I know. And you're going to need 2 cans of beans, about 3 tablespoons of chopped onion, and a little bit of olive oil, about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and 2 cups of rice for the rice cooker. And the first thing is we're going to drain the beans, and we're going to save that juice or that broth, because we're going to use the flavor in the organic beans uh, broth on the rice. So we're going to give the rice a little bit of flavor. And then we put the beans aside. And another reason for doing that is that when we saute the onions, the beans are not going to splatter. So we add the broth to the rice, and then we have to bring it up to the number 2. We just add a little bit more water. So while the rice is cooking, we're gonna start with the beans. We have a little bit of oil, and we're gonna reheat it in medium for about 5 minutes. Then we're going to add the onions, and you want the onions to dance. I call it to dance. You want the onions to talk back at you. And we're gonna saute them for about 5 minutes until they're a little bit brown. Then we add the beans, and as you can see, it's no they're not going to splatter. We're gonna add about half a cup of water, because you want the beans to release the ink. And I tasted the beans before putting them in the pan, and they needed salt. Remember, they're organic, so they don't put a lot of salt. Once you add the water, you bring the heat up to medium high, because you want the broth. See, it's releasing the ink from the skin, and you want them to boil. You're gonna boil them for about 5 minutes. Five, yeah, I would say 5 minutes. What we want to do is uh, we want the beans to release their flavor, and we want the water, or the broth, if you will, to evaporate a little bit. We want a little bit of broth on the bottom, but not a whole lot. And then once it's done, we're going to turn off the heat, and we're going to leave them there for the water to continue to evaporate. And we just let them sit there until the rice is done. Once the rice is done, we're going to put some of it on another dish and let it cool down. Once the rice is cool, you can see that it separates, it's loose. The grains, you can separate all the grains. We're going to add that to the beans, and we're going to mix together until we have similar amounts of rice and bean, that the combination is pretty much even. And we're bringing the heat, again, we're turning on the stove, and we're cooking on medium heat. We're going to mix the rice and beans really well. And once it's pretty hot and well combined, you have your gallo pinto ready. See, that little bit of broth at the bottom is good, because the rice is going to get a little bit of color, and uh, it's gonna smell really, 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 really good. And this is pretty much a very vegetarian dish compared to how the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans make this. So if you're a vegetarian, this dish is for you. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you like this or you find any value in what I'm doing. Thank you.